So we're on to the timing part of this little experiment here. So far what I've done is pulled the oil pump chain off, the oil pump sprocket off, which was fun. Washed the hell out of everything back here with brake clean, dried it all. And then there's a friction washer that goes right in the back. So between the crank and the oil pump gear, then we've got another friction washer and then our timing chain gear. So we're getting into the good stuff now. We're going to put the timing chain on and the cam gears. So for this, I guess I'll probably do a actual video. We're not going to time lapse this because it's probably better to actually capture it. But the sketchiest part of this is these stupid friction washers that you don't want to touch on the face with your hands. Here we go. This is a crank friction washer. I guess they're diamond coated, or it feels kind of like sandpaper. And it just, exactly as it's described, holds using friction, which might seem sketchy, but it's how these motors are, so it is what it is. Washer goes in there, bolt comes through. Oh, fuck. Try not to touch the washer because that's no bueno, but looks good to me. There we go. What is that? That was the somewhere here.
Laser, time for the timing chain.
Time for the chain. It's the only thing left in my bag of timing gear.
That was nice and cleaned and packaged.
I do what I can. There's a link on the chain that's a different color, so I'm pretty sure that might mean something. I mean, maybe not. As long as it's in time, it's in time. It is a chain, so probably doesn't matter. The manual doesn't mention it, so I'm not concerned with it. Friction washer. It's on there, yeah?
It's on there.
Okay. So now we slide this on, followed by our first guide, I guess. This guy on the dowel. It's a slow process, but it's nothing too crazy. Found some some paraphernalia over there. We're in Canada, guys. Paraphernalia is legal here. That's an 8.
That's the best part.
That is the best part. You're freaking telling me. I have the 8 here because when I took this all apart with the little. Yeah, I guess I'll stress it one more time with these stupid friction washers. You got to make sure everything's clean as hell because they're not going to work if there isn't enough friction. Self-explanatory a little bit there. So wear gloves, use lots of brake clean, you know, all that kind of stuff. But it's a relatively straightforward process if you have the manual. If you don't have the manual, you can watch this video or one of the other few that are out there that will kind of help you go through it. But it really isn't overly involved. The one thing I want to mention is those gears, because of the one with that like recess. That's kind of important, I guess.
Tensioner.
Yeah, over on the table there. So these gears, the oil pump gear, if you notice, it's got a recess in it. It sticks out, and that just kind of spaces the chains. So you just make sure you put that one back with the, I guess, the thicker part facing forward. And now our tensioner, which we used this to kind of keep it all together, pull the pin when we're ready. And then all these little bolts in here will
3 agadagos.
Yeah. Final torque will be by hand, but that's good enough for now. Okay, so we are going to tension this. Now, when you put your timing together, you're supposed to leave the gears loose, pretty much hand tight. So the way that works is when you finally finish your timing, you have your cylinder ones at top dead center, and you have your timing tool on here, which is doubling as our beer holder. the idea is, I guess, the tensioner takes up the slack, but when you do your final torque, the cam gears need to move. If they're locked and you release the tensioner, slack's gonna stay because the chain's not gonna be able to move. These aren't gonna move. And you're not moving the cam, so it really doesn't matter. Just the gears are moving. So I guess we're gonna use an extension and we're gonna rotate the crank and we're gonna try and just kind of eyeball when this reaches top dead center. And we do have the timing tool somewhere. The locking pin, which we're gonna use. Where's the old crank pulley bolt, or do we want to use the new one? I guess it doesn't matter at this point. Crank pulley bolt?
Use the old one for now.
Yeah? Did I throw it? Hopefully I didn't throw it back out. I don't think so. Oh, I did. Don't throw out your old crank pulley bolts. These things are uber useful. Just so we're not getting any oil on anything that matters. Okay. We need the Ugga I think, no?
No. But we will need, oh, we might actually need it, but we will need that locking bolt.
Locking bolt. Oh, yes, yes, the timing pin. That is here. We gotta take out the stock thing. This little pin is what holds your cylinders top dead center, cylinder 1. This, in combination with this, it's all you need to time this thing. And it's not scary. We gotta pull that little thing out. Oh, you got it out? Okay. So that goes in the back of the block here where your alternator would typically be on a speed, or a Gen 2 anyways. And then that bolt needs to be sunk like all the way. When I did it, I had it all the way buried in there. It's this 14 here. No, it's even bigger. I think it's the 15. There it is. Crap.
16.
16, okay, so it's a 16 for the timing tool. And you basically put it in until it bottoms out, just until it stops turning, nothing fancy. And you can see it, yeah, let's get some light in here and see if we can get a view. Hold up, I got my phone light. Because that's a cool view. Here, I'll take the GoPro off my head for this. There it is.
So when you top dead center.
So there's the crank. Crank's touching the locking tool. And
That guy's at the top of his travel.
our little socket here is about as high as it's gonna get. Other than that, it will start going back down. So we're at TDC, crank's locked, and we can do our timing now.
Now
And
you can pull the pin.
pull the pin on. So the chain, the slack. Nice.
Cams are locked.
Yeah. Cams are locked,
top dead
so
center.
they're not moving. Cranks at top dead center. We have no slack whatsoever in the chain. Like, that's real tight. And once we torque these, that should be it.
With my holy tool.
Yeah, well, now we've got to torque these guys. So these guys take 55 foot-pounds each. It's not much. These bolts are reusable. There's been some debate, but they're not stretch bolts. They're not torque to yield. There's no degree in the manual. You set it at 55 and that's it. They're not stretching at 55. So they are reusable, which is nice. But pretty much the next part here, hold the camshaft with an adjustable, or if you have I think it's a 24 mil, that's a little bit more ideal. But anyways,
We need a torque wrench too.
we need a torque wrench, so let's grab that. Bingo. 55, so that's it. Exhaust side done, intake side. Also 55.
Also probably will require a few turns.
Yeah, because it's just on their hand tight, so speed this up. Okay.
And you don't want to rely just on the tool timing, the cam timing tool.
Yeah, you don't want to just
hold
use
your
the
cam.
plate to hold the cam. Definitely not. The manual clearly shows somebody holding it. It even tells you hold it on these I guess, octagon parts here. It's in the manual, but that's it, 55. So the real trick is just leaving these loose before you pull the pin on your tensioner, so that any slack in the chain can come out, right? The cams can still rotate so the chain can pull and tighten. If you tighten these guys, the chain can't move. So when you remove the tensioner, there will be inherent slack and there will be 0% chance you can get rid of it. Whereas now, you can probably lift the engine by this and it's not gonna go anywhere. Like, it's freaking solid. So that's it. We're gonna put the crank pulley on last because we gotta put the timing cover on, but I guess we're ready for the timing cover. That's our next step, and that's it. That's the mystery of timing a MZR Dizzy motor. All right, time to RTV the timing cover. Steady hand, you don't want to put too much. Everyone pretty much already knows that stuff with RTV. Inspect the handiwork after. Pat's done this about 1,000 times though, so should be okay. It's a nice tidy job. Okay, so we're getting the valve cover on, which you just, you know, go around the perimeter with some sealants. You guys saw that, RTV. But here's a little pro tip, if you want to explain.
This is similar to when you set up the LS oil pump gear, but this is just to center the seal. As you can tell, if you bolt this up, it could bolt up, you know.
It can be offset.
And a little off, but if you put this crankshaft pulley on, it'll actually center the seal.
Oh, it literally slid right into position.
And then we just snug these up, and you basically know that your seal's got equal pressure all around the sealing surface.
Okay, nice. Pro tips. So what we're doing here is something a little bit extreme, I guess. And there's been a few reported cases, more than a few, of the crank pulley slipping. So the timing teeth here, it's pressed together, okay? And for 99.9% of people, it's fine. But when motors get rebuilt, you push more power, you rev higher, this has a chance of slipping. And if that happens, you're gonna get every single code known to man. Your car's gonna freak out. And it's hard to diagnose, it's very hard to diagnose. So just as a precaution, we're gonna weld this.
I'm gonna put a weld, just a small tack weld in here, right up there, and up here.
I'll show you the after results, but yeah, here we go. Okay.
Doesn't have to be pretty, it just has to work.
No, it doesn't need to be pretty at all. It just needs to hold, and hold it will. Let's see our final product. Hey.
Nothing crazy.
Nothing crazy, but it'll keep it from slipping. I mean, if whatever glue or gum or press fit stuff they do works, then like the weld's gonna be just that much better. So, yeah. Okay, so we slipped the last friction washer on and then pushed the crank pulley in. We're gonna figure out how to line up the timing where the teeth need to be. On the crank pulley, you got to do that first because once you torque it all down, the motor's timed, and if this isn't lined up, it's going to be a pain in the ass, so better just do it now. So we're just taking a quick look in the manual to see what we need to do for that, and then we will reconvene. So we're about to torque the bolt. The procedure is 76 foot-pounds and then 90-degree rotation to give the stretch, and that's it. Before you do that, you've got to set timing on the crank pulley, because if it's off, your ECU is not going to know what's going on. So the way it works is this little pin here, this bolt, it locks into a hole behind, and that holds the pulley, so it's not going to go anywhere left or right. 20 teeth from this gap to the left, so backwards, or if you have a new crank pulley, it'll have a white marked tooth. Ours is not new, it's old, so that tooth is no longer white. It's corroded off, it's burned off, whatever. So we paint marked it green. So there it is, there's your 20th tooth in line with the crank position sensor, which is tight, it's not going anywhere. That's it, now we're gonna crank it. So it's 76 foot-pounds and then a 90-degree turn to set the stretch. basically you have a few ways of doing this. You can use a flywheel bolt and have a buddy hold the crank on the other side so it doesn't rotate. You're not supposed to rely on the cam plate and the locking pins, so we made sure that we also held the cams at the top here with a wrench. And between all of that, it should be fine. So that was our first 76 foot-pounds, but now's the torque wrench part. He's trying to find that freaking breaker bar that went MIA.
Breaker bar. Where's the breaker bar?
It was at the bottom, but there's this one here.
Oh, behind you, to your left, on the tires there.
Oh, yeah, that's the one.
Is that the socket we need too?
That's the 22.
No, okay.
21.
So now we're gonna do our 90 degrees, which is gonna be hella freaking sketchy. Yeah. So basically, when it's done, it's gonna be coming down. Jesus Christ. Am I gonna... Should I... That's it, eh?
That's it.
90 degrees. Okay.
It's time.
Motor's timed, torqued, everything's perfect. So what we're gonna do is remove all the timing gear and spin her over and listen and see if we have any noise or not. That's it. Remove that thing nice and careful like. Moment of truth. Oof. Smooth. This is an interference motor, so you know real quick if it's off. Interference meaning the pistons and valves can meet. Sounds good.
That's basically it.
Yeah, sounds great. Nothing hit nothing. It moves freely, turns nicely. I mean, that's pretty much it. We're gonna do the oil pan, seal it to the block. Well, that's really it.